Hey everyone, welcome back to the Book Cave with me, Jenny. So it is time now for my April wrap-up. This is actually going to be a little bit of a shorter one because most of my books were done in other vlogs, but I will go briefly over those. So the books that are either in vlogs out this month or in vlogs that will be coming out, I'm not entirely sure with the ones that will be coming out. I did finish Hemlock and Silver, and that was in my reading for a week, along with Mile High. I did enjoy both of those. I did feel like Mile High was a little drawn out. Hemlock and Silver, I really enjoyed the magic in it. And then I did finish The Vanishing Cherry Blossom Bookshop, which is a kind of cozy translated fiction. It was translated from the Japanese, and I'm really glad I read that in April because it definitely has the April vibes. And then I finished book 2 of the Prison Healer series, The Gilded Cage, and I will have a full vlog on the whole series coming out for that. I did really enjoy this. I do enjoy that series and the world created. It's definitely kind of like a unique one and has a lot of action. Then I also finished Coldwire and the Love Simulation, which was in my last vlog, trying to finish 4 books in 4 days. Then I also have, what is the other one? Oh, I also have the 4 books in the Rover Powered series. This is another cozy fantasy series that I actually thought was quite fun, and one of the characters in it is a overpowered corgi. So that was definitely really fun. So those are all in vlogs that, like I said, have either come out or will be coming out. I'm hoping to be able to get the Prison Healer one done in May, as well as the one that Rover Powered is in, and have that out in May as well. But we shall see. And I'm going to pass you back over to my As I Finish Books past self, as I usually do. So the books that Lady Tremaine is a Cinderella retelling, but from Lady Tremaine's point of view. This was another just kind of interesting book. It took some turns that I didn't really think it would. I did figure that we would get a little bit more of a why exactly Cinderella and Lady Tremaine were at odds, like they were, and we did, but it did feel kind of surface level, although I did like the relationship development with Lady Tremaine, Cinderella, her daughters, and all of that. This was one that it's not my favorite fairy tale retelling that I've read even recently. It doesn't really have that spark of magic in it. However, it definitely has some good character work. So if you want kind of a character study, that would definitely be interesting. And Falconry also plays a big part in this. So I feel like if you're interested in Falconry, that this would be a good book to kind of pick up and explore that as well. I do have to say, between this and then Hemlock and Silver, is the other adult fairy tale retelling I've read recently. I preferred Hemlock and Silver. It had that spark of magic that this was just missing. They are definitely kind of very different in theme, but they do share narrators that are perhaps at least somewhat unlikable. I read the 6 volumes of the New 52 run of Red Lanterns. This was an interesting one. The main reason I read it is because a while ago I read the Supergirl New 52, and she was a part of it, and so I kind of wanted to catch up on the backstory, and I thought it was okay. You know, it's just kind of your normal superhero, supervillain thing. Like most of the New 52, when we got to the Future's End, the issue at the very end of the run, I was highly unimpressed with that. And that has been like an ongoing thing with the New 52s when I have read them. And yes, I do know how long ago New 52 ended. It's been quite a while. I'm still just kind of reading them as I remember to, as I find interest in them and find them in the library. And the art in this was, again, just okay. I honestly haven't really found any outstanding comic art other than covers. There were some covers that I've really liked. But yeah, overall, if you're kind of into the sort of brooding super villain thing, I do think you would like this. If you are a fan of like the whole Lantern lore in DC, then yeah, you kind of definitely have to read this. I think part of the issue was there was a lot of tie-ins with Blackest Night, Brightest Day, and I have not read those. I feel like maybe if I had read those, we, yeah, like I would have gotten a little more background to some of the stuff and maybe have been a little more invested. The Blood Countess is a biography of Elizabeth Bathory, who was rumored to be the most prolific female serial killer. And this book set out to kind of prove whether she was or not. And honestly, it still leaves a lot of questions because there is no really clear answer. Obviously, after like over 400 years, she was accused in the early 1600s. And I had heard about her just like kind of tangentially. And this book was on one of the Goodreads seasonal challenges for like women's history, I believe it was. And this actually goes a lot more into the overall history of Hungary and Transylvania at the time, and kind of like the religious reformations that were going on, the political things that were going on. And it really does question what exactly was the truth, because yes, there were some deaths, but from the research that the author of this book was able to do, it seems like they were all natural causes, with one or two mothers not believing that, but then they were also not allowed in to see their daughters. But again, this is the time during the bubonic plague and things like that. So for quarantine reasons, is that why they weren't allowed in? And then there was another mother who testified that, well, yes, her daughter did die under Elizabeth Báthory's care. She died of illness, and Elizabeth Báthory did try to treat her and was simply unable to. And at that point, she was allowed in, was there with her daughter. And it's also interesting to see the kind of political machinations of the men that she had around her that were like her estate stewards, and different things like that. The king of Hungary, and then another king of Hungary, and how her young son, was turned against her, and things like that. It is definitely a lot broader in the historical sense than what I thought it would be. I did not think that it was going to go so much into like the socio-political things that were going on. I figured it would be just more of a biography of her and kind of like her day-to-day life. She was definitely a very strong-willed woman, as we do have some surviving letters from her, and one was when a neighbor came and occupied her castle, and she said that she would tear his down over his head unless he left. And so it is kind of easy to see like how her political enemies would have tried to levy these accusations against her to basically help get her out of power. And also they kind of wanted her lands. And that was another very big thing about there. And then I also did not realize that she had died under relatively mysterious circumstances. And yeah, this was just a very interesting read, especially from the lens of like what was going on at that time in the political landscape that could cause these accusations to be thrown at her just to get her out of the way, basically. I highly recommend this if you are interested in the history of this time period, or even in like Hungarian history, or if you just want to know more about Elizabeth Báthory and kind of, did she really do this? Why would she do this? Why would she be accused of it? Things like that. The Right Move is the second book in the Windy Cities Interconnected series. I do recommend at least these two reading in order, just because the second one is about Indy and Ryan, Stevie's brother and best friend. So I do feel like, you get to know them a little bit in Mile High. But I did enjoy this. This one did also feel long. I know I said that with Mile High as well. This one is a little bit shorter. However, this one, I felt like the third act breakup was a little bit more warranted, as it was like definitely a difference in what they wanted, or at least what they thought the other wanted. And Orion was definitely, I feel like, the falling first, falling harder. And I did really, really enjoy this. This one I felt like had a lot more of the sports in it. And I did enjoy getting to see the basketball in this one. So that was fun. So that is everything I read this April. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and you can always leave a comment. Let me know, what did you read this month? Have you read any of these? Did you like them? Always love hearing from you all and talking books. And please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. That way you'll be notified every time I post a new video. And I will see you next time in the book cave.